The Galapagos Islands are a group of islands located to the west of the South American country of Ecuador. They are located on 0 degrees latitude, which is the equator. Many different types of animals are found living there, and the animals are not afraid of humans. Sea lions are the only mammal animals that live on the Galapagos. They are found all over. They live in colonies. The babies are born alive and drink milk from their mothers. They love to swim and fish. They eat fish. Their natural predators are whales and sharks and people, but on the islands they are protected from people. They're very good swimmers and swim quite fast. There are many varieties of birds in the Galapagos. The Darwin finch is what started it all when Charles Darwin studied the finches in the 1800s and decided that they had changed over time based on where they were and what food was available to them. As you'll notice from all of the different birds, they have different beaks based on how they eat. There are 3 types of boobies that live in the islands. There's the red-footed booby that nests in trees and are harder to see. Then there is the Nasta booby, which nests on the ground. They're easier to see. We were able to see Nasta booby chicks, which look somewhat like their parents, but aren't fully grown for a year.
Somebody else would like to pose with the movie? Yes, Captain. There we go. Yeah. Good.
Thank you.
Go ahead. This is the snatching ritual. And if you will notice, it's 2 girls and 1 male.
Okay.
Tough decision. The one that is cooling down, the one that is on the left. Oh, that's the time for him to dance.
Oh.
Yeah, he is really excited. He was picked by this female, and then the other one is leaving. Maybe he will come back, maybe, but so far, this female have actually picked this male.
We've seen the blue-footed booby dance, which is how the boy bird and the girl bird decide on a mate. Once they have their eggs, they take turns sitting on them, and then once the eggs hatch, the mother and father take turns protecting the baby from their predator, the frigate bird, which we will meet next.
They don't need actually to fly anymore. But at this point, I don't know when or which is the last flight of the flightless cormorant, because they arrived here to the islands flying. They lost the ability of flying here. But I just remind you, because when you see the baby of all the birds, it's like looking at the adult cormorant with all of the typical characteristics of a baby but trapped in the adult body. It's like an androgynous bird. Alright, time for the red footed booby.
The one of the parents always stays with the chicks. The chicks do not get their blue feet until they are at least a year old, and are then able to fly. Boobies are great fisher birds. They glide through the sky and then nosedive into the sea to catch their fish. These are swallowtail gulls and with a chick, and these birds also fish, but they do so at night. Frigates are another type of bird that live on the Galapagos. This is a male frigate. It has a red pouch that it inflates when it's looking for a mate. Frigates are predators of the blue-footed booby chicks. Flamingos live on a few parts of the islands where there is fresh water only. Another bird that nests on the ground is the waved albatross, and you will notice as it flies, it has a very long wingspan. The last bird that we're going to talk about is the Galapagos penguin. They are the second smallest penguins, and they are the only penguins to naturally be found north of the equator. They can survive in the Galapagos because the water is cold coming up the western side of South America. Penguins are great swimmers. As you'll notice, they glide through the water like little torpedoes, and when they are above the water, they do a lot of snorkeling and swimming.
Other birds may be replacing the feathers, when they need it, little by little. But in the case of penguins, they don't do that. They just use everything at once, and then it's going to take some time until they finally have a new plumage. They usually do that before mating season. No, when they do that, they need to stay all the time on land. So that's why before they do that, before they plan to do that, they are going to eat or
There are three kinds of iguanas. Two are land iguanas, and the black one is the marine iguana. Um, they live on the various islands, and you can see from the video further along that they make burrows that they lay their eggs in. After they've laid their eggs, they leave, and they're not around when the eggs hatch. Um, the iguanas look like dinosaurs. There are also many different kinds of lizards. The most famous animals that live on the Galapagos are the Galapagos tortoise. They live a very long time, some over 100 and some years old. Their only natural predator is the Galapagos hawk, and the hawk eats the eggs and the newly hatched tortoises. Um, it would be very difficult for a hawk to eat a full grown Galapagos tortoise. The most famous Galapagos tortoise was Lonesome George. In the water surrounding the islands, many types of fish live, and algae, and crabs, and sharks, and green sea turtles. The Galapagos is just filled with all kinds of wildlife.